Bray Wyatt recently reappeared on Instagram for a short Q&A session, so we'll see what he had to say. We'll also take a look at what's going on with Roman Reigns and Edge's new faction. Let's start things off with everything Bray Wyatt related. Windham, formerly known as Bray Wyatt in WWE, returned to Instagram this week to comment on his excitement for his WrestleCon appearance, as well as answer a few fan questions. Bray kicked it off by posting that he's on his way to Dallas. A lot of articles ran with the headline of Bray Wyatt on his way to Dallas for WrestleMania weekend. But in reality, he was heading over there for his scheduled WrestleCon appearance. He said that he missed this energy and missed all the fans. He said that he'll answer 6 questions, but that he hates ruining surprises. All of the questions he answered were great questions. So we'll run by everything that Bray revealed. When asked why he was in Dallas, he responded by saying this: "I'm here for WrestleCon, but it's whatever, man. 'Tis the season." When asked if he'll ever wrestle again, he had this to say: "I will always love wrestling. I couldn't imagine spending the rest of my life without stepping in the ring again, hearing that roar again. I think about it often. Everything has to be in place though. Like I said, timing is everything." When asked to explain the concept of the Firefly Funhouse, Bray went in depth with some backstory and deep meaning behind the first few episodes and had this to say: "The Firefly Funhouse, at least the early ones, are a story about my life. I told you stories in there that happened live on television, and many that you could never know. It was confessions. They were short, stylized documentaries about my life. That's why they connected. They weren't just about wrestling. They were an origin story, what I really went through, my struggles, my vices, my comeback, and the war that wages on. I hid so much on there just because I wanted people to feel when they watched. Because believe me, I had every emotion fathomable during my making of those, my life, my art." When asked about his overall health, Bray had this to say: "I have never been more healthy both physically and mentally. I have been able to challenge myself with projects that would have never been possible before. This is a happy time for me, but I have to be patient. Timing is everything." He was also asked about the most important lesson that he learned and had this to say: "Business is about thinking with your head, not your heart, so I suck at business." When asked about his reaction to everything and if revenge was on his mind, he had this to say: "At first it was all I could think about. But revenge is a confession of pain, and I was hurting, I was angry, and then I healed. I remembered that every single time in my life that I have ever been challenged, I come back better. I'm no stranger to pain. Nothing has ever been easy for me. Nothing was ever given. But people should know by now, you should never ever doubt what I am capable of." So it was great to hear from him again after so many months of absolute silence. He only answered those few questions, but he definitely gave us a lot of information, starting off with his future in wrestling. For months now, we've been hearing rumors for all these reports that Bray loves the movie projects and how he's never coming back to the ring. But we now hear from the man himself that he can't see himself going the rest of his life without getting back in the ring again. So at least that's some sort of confirmation that Bray Wyatt will be returning to the ring one day in some capacity. But like he said, the timing has to be right. So that answer was enough to give fans a little bit of hope that we'll see him again sometime in the future. Bray's comment section of the post was just full of fans talking about how much they miss him, how much he brought everyone's interest back into pro wrestling, and all these other great compliments for him. So hopefully we do get to see him spike that interest back up again in the future. He also said that he was a bit hurt and angry for a long time after the release, but says that he's healed from all those feelings now and to never doubt what he's capable of. Bray's other great answer was all the details and information he provided about the Firefly Funhouse. So if you go back and rewatch those first few episodes, maybe you can better understand the meaning behind them now. The episodes Bray were referring to were the early episodes before he started his feud with Finn Balor. The episodes where we were getting introduced to the Firefly Funhouse for the very first time. Bray is saying that all those episodes contained his backstory and his origin story. a combination of life stories that we saw unfold on WWE television and other stories from behind the scenes. He took all of that and turned it into the Firefly Funhouse with a unique way to showcase that story. And like he said, it connected with the audience. The first few introduction episodes had very little to do with wrestling, but it still clicked with the fans, and they were very intrigued. So it was great to get all that interesting information from Bray Wyatt, and hopefully we do see him again inside the ring in the future. A new report from Fightful recently came up that claims that there's allegedly a strong pitch going on to give Edge his own heel faction. Edge recently turned heel and switched everything from his hairstyle to his clothing to his theme music. Just about everything about the character has been altered with this heel turn, and it would appear that they really want to go deep with this new character by having him lead this faction. The report lists one possible member, and that's the former United States champion Damian Priest. Damian Priest had a strong 2021 and start to 2022 with his long United States title reign, but now that he lost the title, no one really knows what's next for him. So if Priest really wants to be one of these possible members for Edge's faction, it would be a great spot for him. Even if the faction has a total of 3 members, that would be more than enough. It would also be nice to see Edge build this faction up enough to take on the Bloodline in a big 3-on-3 match. Everyone loved the New Day versus the Bloodline last fall, so another faction versus faction story would be pretty interesting. So we'll have to see how soon it is until Edge starts getting this faction together. Roman Reigns recently spoke with ESPN and went into great detail behind his thinking process with his 2020 WWE return. Roman said that he was getting very comfortable in his new house and spending all this time with his family. He said that the only way he was going to return was to do something groundbreaking, history-making, and if they couldn't promise him that, then he wasn't returning. That's when Paul Heyman was in communication with Roman, trying to come up with new ideas to change his entire presentation. Roman said that he wanted power and strength to play a big role in this new character. He wanted to be nearly mafia-style power, where not only do they respect him, but they fear him as well. Roman mentioned how he does have a writer, but if he's not feeling what they put on paper and doesn't think it'll connect, he doesn't pay it any mind. But WWE ended up giving Roman Reigns literally everything he asked for, and it turned out to be the greatest thing that has ever happened to the character of Roman Reigns. What are your thoughts on today's stories? Leave your comments below, don't forget to subscribe with all notifications on, and leave a like if you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, guys.